Welcome back to Anamorphic Ninjas Impersonated My Emu. I am Grenchler, and with me is Whooper.
I don't know what's going on anymore. These acronyms are too far above my head. Hello, everybody.
It's been another rousing week of the French Open, and by that I mean lack of some anime.
Yeah, no One Punch Man this week because of the French Open, and I'm sure some other stuff is delayed as well. I thought Fruits Basket was going to be delayed. That ended up not happening, at least for episode 9. But we're not going to talk about episode 9 of Fruits Basket. We're dropping it in favor of Kimetsu no Yaiba, also known as Demon Slayer for the plebs. It's not even what Kimetsu no Yaiba translates to, but
no,
you know.
So, do you want to start with it?
I guess, yeah. Sure. We're doing 3 episodes of it. We already covered the first episode in our first impressions thing for the spring. And so now we're going to watch episodes 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
And I thought they were pretty good.
I did too.
Yeah. I thought the first episode was really shitty.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean, the setup was so hackneyed.
Yeah.
Like, you know, his family lives on the mountain. They sell coal, and then he leaves one day. He comes back. His entire family's been slaughtered by these demons. You know, his sister's been turned into a demon. And then in the second half, he fights Giyu, I think is the guy's name.
One of the demon slayers.
Yeah. Which is how he gets sent on to Urokudaki.
Right. The sensei he trains under for 2 episodes.
Right. And Giyu, who eventually sends him off to like get the story started for real. But before that, he has to have the fight with Giyu in episode 1. I really hope his name is Giyu because
I didn't write it down.
Yeah, I probably did somewhere. But the fight, it's like when he throws the hatchet at him,
right.
We go into his mind and he thinks to himself, oh my God.
Like minute-long internal monologue.
The strategy of him throwing this hatchet, I must now explain it painstakingly to the audience. But, you know, the episodes that came after that I thought were a lot better.
Yeah, I'd say so. You want to go in order or just hit some highlights?
I don't know. We can start with episode 2, but then see where the conversation takes us.
See where it goes.
Yeah.
I think this show looks really good.
It's pretty cool looking.
Like, there are some really cool fights in it. I love in episode, I think it's episode 2, when he's going down the mountain and dodging all the traps. There's one part where all the traps and like trees and stuff around him are CG.
Yeah.
And he's dodging through all of them. He was? I barely noticed. Yeah. It looked really good.
They use a CG model for his character a fair bit, actually.
Yeah.
In this series.
But it
looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think so. The opening with the water.
Yeah, the OP is... It's freaking tight.
that is spicy.
Sure.
Or fluid. Or
yeah, it looks
it's water.
Good. Yeah, right. It's liquid. It's smooth like butter. Yes, I really do like the OP, even though it has like, you know, a somewhat generic sounding J-rock song.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, it's fine because got lots of cool looking characters against like flashy backgrounds and nice fights and all that stuff. You got the water that it like kind of extends from his blade when he swings it, and then you have the weird arrows that there's like a demon character in the OP that shoots arrows somehow, like literal red arrows.
Yeah,
not that you fire from a bow, but that you draw on a piece of paper with a point.
That might not be literal.
I actually don't think that any of that stuff is literal. Like, I don't think water is coming out of his sword, and I don't think that he can see strings. You know how he talks about in episodes 3 and 4, like being able to see
when he needs to strike, he like senses a string between like
his blade
and the opening that his opponent makes.
Yeah, I don't think any of that is literal. I think all of that is like visual metaphor that the show is using. At least that's my theory, because we haven't had any. I mean, the breathing techniques that he uses involve the word water. Somehow it's like a school of breathing, a school of martial arts or something.
Right.
not Saitama's
water polo.
Yeah, not his water polo
Alka-Seltzer,
school.
whatever it was called.
But I do no one has actually like acknowledged the fact that water is coming out of this dude's sword.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure it's all just metaphorical. Which is cool. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah, it makes it look flashy, and it gives the battles another dynamic for you to engage with.
Yeah.
And it's pretty neat.
What do you think of the whole oh, my sister's a demon, I need to go save her?
Well, it gets, that's a problem in episode 1, because it's like, oh no, my whole family's been killed. My sister's a demon. Oh no, this is all.
But it's kind of
set up.
backburnered because she's just like asleep for 3 episodes.
She's not asleep in episode 2. That's the one where we open up and like he's already hit the road in search of the Urokodaki.
Right. And he fights the demon that its head grows its arms back.
Right.
Yeah.
That was strange. Because your arms don't come from your head. They come from your like.
Well, they come out of your neck.
Aren't they more attached to your torso than they are extending from your neck?
Yeah, but
your neck is kind of sitting on top of your torso.
It eats people to stay alive. It's it's a little bit beyond logic.
Right. That's true. Yeah, that demon. Actually, that fight against the demon happens very near the start of episode 2. Like I like the way that episode 2 was structured. The first thing you see when it opens up is the raven or the crow, whatever kind of bird it is, flying. Above the mountains, above the trees.
Right.
You find out at the end of the episode that it was carrying a letter from Giyu to Urokodaki.
Basically being like, there's something about this guy. I think you should take care of him.
It's a request for him to train Tanjiro. Yeah.
Right.
But by bookending the episode with those two things, we don't have to waste time like having Tanjiro be like at the start of the episode, okay, well now I'm setting out on my journey and now we're going to travel through the mountains and stuff to find this guy. Instead, it just opens up with him, already on the road trying to take care of his sister who can't be out in the sunlight, and he gets the basket.
He builds the basket.
And
you just go in here and hang on, I got this.
There's a lot of comedy used to move things along in this series.
Yeah.
Not only in
the training
2,
montage in episode
3,
yeah,
which is an 18-month time skip.
Yes,
or
actually,
2 years.
I think it's 2 years.
Yeah, well, it's 18 months. It's a year at first, and then 6 more months, and then
6 more months.
6 more months to I don't know. That's the one where his hair gets longer.
Yeah,
which was a pretty cool look, and then he cut it off. I was like, why?
I was like, you look.
It's more of a pain to animate probably when it's longer.
Or
to draw for the artist.
Right. But it's definitely, it's a physical representation of time rather than just, hey, time has skipped. We kept the same character design. And they're like, all right, well, let's make it apparent.
Right.
They didn't have to do that, but I think it's good they did.
Well, if you really think about it, they did have to. Well, no, they didn't, because he
could have been cutting it the whole time.
Yeah, which he probably was for those first 18 months. But getting back to the demon fight at the start of episode 2, I really did like, for example, the demon's hair wrapping around the handle of Tanjiro's hatchet.
Right.
The show did not spend, 20 or 30 seconds like going into detail about why that was such a hindrance to Tanjiro. It wasn't like, and then Tanjiro thought, oh no, how am I going to properly wield my hatchet against my foe if his hair is tangled around its handle? I'll no longer be able to execute plan A, so I'll have to come up with a plan B.
He just throws it.
Yeah. And then afterwards, the demon says like a few words about the fact that, oh, now I'm stuck because I chose to wrap my hair around it. Just for a couple seconds.
I fucked up.
Yeah, he does get stuck against the tree. So that was, the battle was quicker. It was more to the point, even though it went through like multiple phases, because first you had the whole demon put together, and then you had it sliced in two where its body operates independently of its head and vice versa.
I thought it was interesting. So The head is stuck to the tree. The body falls off the cliff and lands on its neck and knocks out the head.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's like he just shut off the Wi-Fi for a second. You're like, hello?
Yeah. He had to reboot.
I thought that was neat.
Yeah, although if they are separated, why would one impact the other? I don't really get that. But
It's magic. I mean, some demons apparently can use magic.
Yeah, Urokodaki says something about that, and at the start of episode 4, about like
he mentions it once before, someone mentions that demons can do magic.
They can use jutsus.
Well, they just say magic. And is the Japanese word for magic jutsu?
No. Jutsu means technique, I'm pretty sure. But the Japanese word for jutsu is used in the actual script.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear
the Japanese word jutsu.
The only words I pulled out were katana, and that's about it.
Oh.
I was just like, it means sword. I know that because they're using one.
Yeah, though his whole thing about how like if the more people demons have eaten, the stronger they are, and then they can even use weird magic spells and stuff. I was like, oh god, this is just this show's version of power levels.
Yep.
And then once you've trained enough as a demon slayer, you can like see how many humans a demon has eaten.
Yeah, you smell all the different demons. He said Urodaki goes by smell, just like Tanjiro does.
Yeah, they're similar. That's part of why Giyu wanted him to be his apprentice.
So it would be you might be able to like smell the remnants of all the different humans inside of him or something. I don't know. I actually had a theory about. So you sent me a text about the boulder,
yeah,
and the
twist ending of episode 3, which I thought was pretty dope.
I have a theory as to how that happens, though. The demon that killed them, which we see in episode 4, who had eaten them, wasn't dead, so their souls were still stuck on the earth. So they were essentially spirits until the demons vanquished, and then they like lay to rest.
But their spirits don't have to like reside where the demon is.
Right.
It can be wherever they like or wherever their memories are strongest, or how does that work?
I don't know. Spirits, they're just like stuck there.
I don't know. I don't really know about that. I mean, maybe that it makes sense, but that would be a waste of 2 characters, pretty good designs that have just been introduced. If after Tanjiro kills this demon that he's fighting, he does kill the demon at the end of episode 4. He slices off its head. If they were to depart and move on to the afterlife, then it was nice to know you. You're gone already.
Yeah.
Aren't they in the OP?
I think so.
Yeah. I feel like they might stick around.
Yeah. I don't know because the teacher mentions is like, wait, how does he know who they are? They've been dead for years.
Right. I don't know. He was just got real spiritual and stuff.
He could smell them.
Perhaps. He does seem to smell everything.
It's not just a boulder?
He even, when he's training on the mountain in episodes 2 and 3, I think, he smells like the traps that have been set by human hands.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of weird, that his sense of smell is that precise.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some animals are that strong. If he's not special in any way, why are we watching him,
So that we can see an ordinary man take down some demons. An ordinary otaku, just like me. Oh, but not one of those geeky ones.
No, of course not.
No, I'm
the hardworking ones that everybody loves.
Yes, such as
myself,
such as the shield hero, who is just like me, an otaku.
Of course. But yeah, I really liked this show so far, so I'm interested to keep watching it.
I mostly like it for the visuals. I mean, the story, the humor is carrying the story along pretty well. But none of the time skips seem like they come too fast. I mean, the show is clearly hurrying along and trying to get him to a point where he's like a legitimate swordsman.
Right.
And I did like, there was one moment in episode 4 once he's, because he undergoes all the training with Urokodaki and the siblings, or they're not siblings, are they?
No, they're just 2 of his different students.
Yeah, 2 of his previous disciples. And he slices the boulder. And just to go on a tangent for a second, I really liked that boulder scene. I thought it was awesome. My favorite moment of all 3 of these episodes, because the show does a really nice job of like slowly. He's set to fight against what's his face?
Sabito.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Thank you. He's set to fight against Sabito again after like months of being unable to defeat him, and it's snowing and everything. And the show does a really nice job of slowly like
changing the seasons,
stopping the snow's fall and bringing in fog around them. And then right when he slices through Sabito's mask, the fog is like at its peak, and then it disperses, and you see the boulder. If you go back and watch it, you can see that it's snowing at first, and then that stops, and then the fog starts to come in. So they did a good job of obscuring the boulder to make the reveal like, whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah. I guess I didn't think about it because I didn't see it.
Well, I didn't either until I went back and watched it a second time, because I figured, how did this boulder get here, or what exactly was the physical progression of this scene. So I went back and I saw how they changed the weather. That was cool.
Does the music in this show kind of give? I mean, I'm sure other shows have done it, but we watched Ghost in the Shell a while ago, from '95, and that kind of like kind of like choral
vocals.
Yeah, they do that in this show.
Yeah,
and they use a lot more traditional.
Most notably during the eye catches, right? Or the new episode screen, like with the episode title. That's when.
No, they do it during the show as well.
Really?
Yeah, a couple times.
I mostly, what I'm remembering from the show soundtrack mostly is just like string arrangements.
There's a lot of traditional Japanese instruments in it.
Yeah, that's true. But they're all set against a backdrop of strings for the most part, I feel. And also like taiko drums. Dum 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 dum.
Yeah.
But there was one song, I think it was in episode 4, which started to sound a little bit like house or electronic music.
Yeah.
I was like, get this out of my sight.
Yeah.
Or my ears.
It changed though. It had like a second movement to it during the
it did, but I wasn't feeling it.
When it first kicked in, I was like, "Are you sure, Chief? I don't know about this."
Yeah, it was all right though. So yes, that brings us back to episode 4, because that was the episode where there was the one break from the more traditional kind of Japanese folk music, let's say.
Yeah.
Not folk music as we think of it in America, but like actual music from perhaps this era, the Taisho era, because Japan goes through eras like that.
Right. Didn't they just, we mentioned it last episode, but they just hit a new one.
Yes. So yeah, episode 4. What was I going to say about it? Oh yeah, that's the whole thing in episode 4, is that he's done with his training now, and
he's on the final assessment.
Yeah, what is it called exactly?
Final selection.
Yeah, the final selection for the Demon Slayer Corps. And I was going to make some sort of larger point about this episode, and I forget what it was. I don't think it was related to the slaying of the
creepy twins, multiple arm dude.
Yeah. I mean,
and a bunch of water.
That's the big
that doesn't exist.
Well, probably not.
Yeah.
That's the big centerpiece of the episode, I guess, even though it comes in the second half, is the
fight
demon who's eaten like 50 dudes with all the ridiculous arms that also function as his neck somehow. What was I going to say, dude? I don't really remember.
He had eaten like 13 or 14 of Urodaki's students.
Yeah, Urokodaki. Yes. Because Urokodaki was the one who
put him there.
Yeah, who like sentenced him essentially to life on this mountain, because he can't descend it because of the wisteria trees that circle all around it. All the demons who are there are trapped there.
Yeah.
And there was one major disappointment for me in the fight against that big old nasty demon, and that was that we didn't get, like when he descends the mountain in episode 2, and we see the CG, the swoopy camera, which
we didn't see one of those through like all the arms.
Through all
stuff.
the arms. That's what I wanted to see. That would have been perfect, because he has to weave in and out of the grasp of this demon's like multiple limbs. Instead, we just get a lot of shots directly from the side as he hacks off his hands a million times. So I was disappointed in the visual execution of that fight. There were a lot of close-ups on his face as well as he was going, "Ah!"
Yeah.
So I mean the show looks great, but that was a nitpick that I guess I had with that scene. Not really feeling the demon's very lengthy explanation of like how he got to be on this mountain and how he just enjoys killing people so much and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But we do have a lot of new characters to look forward to in this final selection process because it's an exam arc, essentially.
Right.
And we've seen plenty of those in Naruto, Hunter x Hunter.
It's a tournament arc.
Well, not exactly. It's more of an exam, but
yeah,
there are new characters. We saw a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And a lot of them also show up in the OP, so they're important.
Captain Lightning,
right.
Which we don't get his name, although he's mentioned at the end.
Who?
He's the dude who does the dude who uses lightning.
Why do you think he uses lightning? He just has yellow hair.
But when in the OP when he strikes, there's like lightning coming out of him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It just like sparks off his blade and then goes everywhere.
Okay.
And then there's Wolf Head. I don't know.
Yeah, isn't it more like Pig Head?
I don't think it looks.
He's got a crazy mask and he's shirtless.
Yeah.
And almost pantsless.
Yep.
Yeah, that guy's kind of nuts. So yeah, we still have to meet all of them. So there's plenty of good stuff to come, I hope.
Yeah.
I do like the show's use of humor to carry itself forward so far, but I'm afraid that when Pigman gets introduced,
it's going to go
get too wacky,
a little too much.
Yeah,
it's going to go the most pointless episode ever.
What would that be?
In Naruto, there was an episode where a crow kept flying over saying "Ava." It was the most pointless episode ever.
Oh,
they're trying to see what was behind Kakashi's mask.
No, the crow was saying "aho."
Aho. In the English dub, it's "ever."
Oh, okay.
It's literally someone saying "ever."
Well, aho means idiot.
Oh,
so I think that's probably what it was saying in Japanese.
Well, anyways, I'm looking forward to the next couple episodes.
Yeah, we'll probably do 3 more next time. Yeah. And then 3 more after that will get us current, I think.
Yes, it will.
And this show is also 26 episodes. Slated for 2 core. So there's that.
Wow, I'd be interested to see if they can keep up the
speed. No,
the quality of like how good the show looks.
UFO. I think this is probably what I was going to say because I realize now that I haven't said the studio's name.
Ufotable.
Yeah, Ufotable, UFO table. I like saying UFO table because it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's way more funny.
This is what they're known for. Implementation of like CG backgrounds and really fancy fight scenes and 2D effects work. So you can expect more of this going forward, I think.
Cool.
And if you want to look up their past works as well, they probably have some good ones. They do a lot of Fate adaptations, which is a visual novel series that lots of people are nuts about.
9 billion spin-offs and adaptations, and it prints money.
Yeah, essentially. I'm not a big fan, but
isn't one of the big ones like Unlimited Blade Works?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. And there are very nice fight scenes in that too.
Speaking of Unlimited, the amount of money that people probably have at the top of corporations in Carole Tuesday. So let's talk about it.
What a painful transition that was.
Yeah, and they're not going to get any better.
I thought this episode was okay, I guess. I mean, not really. It was just like a show within a show.
Yeah.
So they had to stick rigidly to the formula of the show that its characters are participating in. So it was just like 4 musical numbers.
Yep.
And some stuff with Angela as well. There wasn't a lot to this episode, I didn't feel.
No, not really. It was, all right, the girls are going to win. Cool. That's kind of expected, I guess.
You think they're going to win?
Well, they're going to win the first round, at least.
Well, they already did. They beat OG Bulldog.
The opera rapper.
Mm-hmm. Opera rapper.
New term. Parappa the Rappa.
Yeah. He was also exposed as a fraud.
He is actually a pharmacist who would never hurt anybody. Not actually a murderer and drug dealer.
Yeah, I mean, do you remember the judges from the previous episode?
Yeah.
Like who were witnessing all the meme contestants? Like
they're completely different.
They're twerking girl who says, "Let's get retarded."
The guy with the head that's gigantic.
What gigantic head guy?
One of the guys, he was wearing this hat that was this massive orb, and he collapses under the weight of it.
Oh yeah, the guy who does like Vedic chants, like that.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, and then there were a whole bunch more. Idea showed up for a bit. In this one, the judges had way more, personality. Their appearances were more distinct from the average background character. You had the woman who was like the Simon Cowell because she's got the acid tongue.
Right.
And then there's the AI who has a human behind him for like no apparent reason.
It's his butler that carries him around.
Oh yeah, I guess so. I didn't think about that. Like what his function would be.
Right.
But yeah, I guess it's to carry him. And then the other guy.
Yeah. The guy who loves everybody.
Right. The gay guy.
Yes.
Yeah, who is more like sympathetic rather than being so critical like the woman.
Right. There was always someone like that on
everywhere.
American Idol. There was always someone who's just
Yeah, it was usually the female judge who was like, Paula Abdul, I guess, was the judge in the early seasons.
The good old days.
I still remember seeing William Hung
yeah.
sing on one of the early rounds. Oh my god. I've met that guy. At a Pokemon tournament.
Really? Yeah, I think you mentioned that at some point.
Yeah, you were there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you were competing.
No, I don't know. It was a long time ago.
I would say where it was, but that would be slightly doxy.
Just a bit.
Anyway, I've been talking about the judges for a long time, but I liked that these judges were more, it gave more of a
character to the show.
Yeah.
In the show.
Since this episode has stuck like entirely to the formula, like the American Idol X Factor type of formula.
Right.
The previous one had more stuff to play with, like, Tuesday's,
Oh, like I don't want to be on camera, so I'm going to adopt a weird voice and glasses.
Well, she did do that, the glasses especially, but her discovery, that's the word I was looking for. Tuesday's discovery of like Carole's past and how it changed her outlook on their partnership, et cetera, et cetera.
It wasn't just the show. There was other stuff to it.
Right.
Yeah. Whereas this one,
one really needed the judges to have an impact, to be at least, moderately well designed and voiced.
Because otherwise we just have.
Otherwise it'd be terrible.
Yeah.
It'd be boring.
It'd just be like 3 people hitting buzzers instead.
I guess they could have gone that route.
Yeah.
Whatever. They could have just made it like The Voice. That's the one where you hit the button and the chair spins around.
Yeah.
Yeah. They could have done that if they wanted to get lousy with the judges' designs. They could have just used the act of pressing the buzzer as kind of their expression of interest,
Yeah.
in the contestants. But I thought they did a nice job with the judges, is what I'm trying to say.
But as for the rest of it,
well, there's Pyotr's dance number.
Yeah, that was really cool.
When the night falls. When the night falls. You're supposed to sing.
I don't know the words.
I want to dance with somebody.
I want to dance with somebody. Yeah,
It was cool.
Yeah, it was cool. And was that a specific artist?
I don't know.
Because remember you mentioned
it just seemed very boy bandish.
Yeah.
And some R&B influence as well. He's doing some Michael Jackson, but the thing where he holds his jacket out to the side, that's Michael Jackson.
I've seen Michael Jackson do that before.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting that in addition to being like the social media star with the zillion followers and he just wants to be popular, he's acting totally, self-absorbed and immature in all of our encounters with him up to this point. Then he busts out this song. I thought it was going to be revealed that he was lip syncing when it first started. I was like, this isn't real, But apparently it is. I still think there might be
that, or he is lip syncing and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, there's also the fact of him like singing to a track because there's BGM.
Right. I mean, a bulldog is singing to a track as well.
Yeah, but at least it's an instrumental track. Like Piotr was singing over top of
other vocals.
Yeah, other vocals.
But they were his. So
I don't know. I guess they were.
It sounded like it to me.
Yeah. Well, they were all singing their own original songs, right?
Yes, although all of them have been written by AI except for Carole Tuesday.
Right. So yeah, now we do have a clearer picture of what exactly AI's involvement in modern music is.
Where it's pretty much
written by AI, but not performed. Because there was some ambiguity about that near the start of the show. They just kept saying, oh, AI has taken over. AIs have taken over.
AI writes the music, but people perform it.
Yeah, that explains. Although that does kind of like rob, the Skip and Crystal performances from the festival,
right?
Of their like authenticity. Perhaps they wrote those themselves because the lyrics
could have been, a long time ago as well.
Well, yeah, maybe. Those are like their big hits because they're established artists,
right? Before AIs were writing a bunch of music.
Yeah, in terms of like a timeline, sure, that might make sense. But I was just thinking about the fact that those lyrics are like expressions of their current, romantic situations.
Right.
I mean, so if AIs, I don't know if you say the S at the end of AI. If they were written by machines, that's kind of like, not not super meaningful.
They only mentioned that all these contestants had their music written by AI.
Yeah, but they've also spouted a bunch of like 98 or 99% of musicians use like statistics like that.
Right.
They use AI for their lyrics and compositions.
Either way,
Carole Tuesday win.
Yep.
As the female judge puts it, like the fact that they don't rely on machines to write their songs for them is what makes them special, even though they really have nothing else that makes them special.
Right.
So I guess that's the message that we're supposed to be taking away, like in earnest, from this episode.
They're special because they wrote it themselves.
The song was fine. I don't actually remember that much about it. It's something about like whispering my love, right?
Yeah.
It was a very, very quiet, very subdued choice for a stage like that where you do want to make an impact.
Right.
So I am surprised that OG Bulldog didn't win, but he
lied.
He probably, like, the fact that he was exposed is probably what prevented him from moving on to the next round.
That's what I had written down. Also, Carole gets her own little stalker.
Oh, yes. Who is actually also in the top 8.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's all an act somehow I don't know. Isn't it Tuesday who gets the stalker?
Yeah, it's Tuesday. Sorry, I said the wrong thing. And Carole's like, what are you doing? You're kind of weird.
She is kind of weird. Perhaps she's a little jealous.
No, because the girl like blows up Tuesday's phone. She gets like 9 messages in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
She's like, one of them I read was, is this too much? And I just thought, yes. Because, we know that it's, that she has some sort of infatuation with Tuesday because we keep getting cuts of her during their performance where she's just like sitting there dreamy-eyed and blushing, watching their performance.
Yeah, I guess. But the fact that she's also in the top 8 just makes me think like she's eventually going to have to compete against them if they both keep winning.
Right.
I don't know what the story is with her. We'll probably find out next week because we're going to get the other 4 performances, including Angela's.
Yep.
And at the very end of the episode, Angela like acknowledges them as her rivals.
Classic bitch move.
Well, I just thought classic anime.
You're going to be my rival.
There has to be a destined rival character.
Otherwise, if there's no conflict, there's no story.
Yep. Excuse me. All right, let's go to Planet Haze. So you ready for that or?
Yes.
All right, well.
Oh boy.
Let's do it.
We got some episodes here.
Got some
some drama,
some terrorism,
some politics,
you know,
ramrod.
all the important stuff. And we still have 2 episodes left to go after this.
Yeah, like what? I assume at least the last episode is probably mostly just going to be resolutions.
Yeah, like seeing where every character ends up, an epilogue of sorts, you know.
And 25 will be finding out the fate of the characters from 24.
Yeah, because there are definitely some cliffhangers. Like what happens between Hachi and Hakim.
Hachi and Hakim is a cliffhanger. Tanabe is a cliffhanger.
Yeah, Tanabe and Claire. Right.
We also don't.
I wonder if anyone's dead or what the deal is.
I'm expecting someone to be dead.
Who? Anybody?
I don't know who, but I'm expecting someone.
Well, there were plenty of casualties in this episode.
Yeah.
Like Hakim and Claire and the rest of the SDF, at least their tactical team, they board the Von Braun.
Right.
And they kill a bunch of people in their attempt to, you know, hijack the ship and crash it into the Sea of Tranquility City on the moon. That's the main like plot of episode 24 and 23, I guess.
Yeah, the first half of 24. That's the plot because I guess we should probably talk about this in
episode
order.
23 they board the Von Braun.
Yeah, I know, but in 24 that's still going on.
Yeah, that's true.
At least for the first bit of it.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get there's just a lot to talk about in these episodes.
I mean, what we can start with is I did think it was interesting the way that episode 23 opened, because we've been focusing so much on Hachi recently. His face off with Hakim, his declaration to Tanabe that like
this is mine.
Yeah. And isn't it revealed in this episode that he actually said all that out loud? I thought it was just in his mind.
No, he said it out loud.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, all the pain and the suffering, they're mine. You can't have them. You don't deserve them. Yeah, we find out that he said all that out loud. So there's the big blow up between he and Hakim, and then the fractured relationship between he and Tanabe. So it really has been focusing a lot on Hachimaki recently. But episode 23 opens with
Chang Shin, doesn't it?
No, it's characters who we don't even know. It's a bunch of like temp astronauts who are doing some kind of work on a satellite or something out in space.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that it's a member of the SDF who's like setting up for their big mission.
Yeah.
And then once we get past the OP, it's Fee and Yuri and Claire, who we're focusing on.
Right.
You know, Fee's pissed because she doesn't have a smoke, and we only get Hachi for like a little bit, just for a short time, when he tells his father that Gigalt is dead. That's pretty much it. Apart from that, it's focus on the other characters, right?
No, Hachi and the first part of Hachi and Hakim's showdown is in 23.
Yeah, that's true. He does find the gun on the ground, and then he like gets that evil glint in his eye, like,
and he waits for Hakim in Locksmith's office.
Yeah, that's true. But it's still a very Hachi light episode overall.
Yeah, compared to the last 2 episodes.
It does focus more on the political side of things, I think, because there's the Supreme Council meeting going on, and you know, it's happening on the moon, which the terrorists are, you know,
it's not happening on the moon. It's happening on a big space station. All of the security forces from the moon are on that space station.
No, they've just moved away from the Sea of Tranquility base, haven't they?
No.
And they're on a different part of the moon.
No, they're on a big space station.
I thought one of the main reasons why the chairman made that deal in the end was to save his own skin, because the thing was going to come down and crash.
That's why it's unclear why he made it yet. We don't know like the whole impact of it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because they say like, hey, it's going to crash into this. And the chairman, he's like, sir, your son is on board the Von Braun. He's like, I don't care. He's like, why are you telling me this?
The children that I had by Millie were spares.
Yeah.
So it was taking place on like a satellite?
Yeah, because they specifically mentioned that a bunch of security from the moon is there.
Right. I hear you.
It's one of the other giant stations. There's tons of them.
Okay. Damn. All right. I thought it was just on a different part of the moon.
No, there was, instead of being on 7, it was on like 9 or something like that. There are a bunch of different stations around the Earth.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, it's true that security is pretty lax on the moon, which is how Dolph gets shot, I guess. Is Dolph there on the moon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they have to go to the base down there in order to.
They have to get his retinal scan in order to get access to some.
To a satellite network or something to.
Yeah. Because there were a lot of moving parts to the SDF's plan, and I didn't follow it. I mean, obviously, based on my confusion, I did not follow every bit of it.
Yeah.
But they did need Dolph's retinal scan in order to access something. Claire also helped them hijack the toy box, which they needed for some reason.
They needed it to get more people onto the Von Braun.
But it was a civilian ship that docked with the Von Braun. The toy box is not a civilian ship. Like the guys on the Von Braun, after the ship docks with them, they're like, why is a civilian ship docking with us? Blah, blah, blah. And then they get shot up.
They came in from like 6 different ships. Because they hijacked like 6 different ships and they all went to the Von Braun. You can see them all like docked in the back.
Okay. Yeah, those exterior shots of like space stations and satellites and things, whenever I see one of those, I don't always process exactly where it is, in relation to the moon, let's say, or what all the details mean. I just see it as like an exterior shot in space somewhere. I'm like, okay, they're in space. Now let's go to the interior and have some characters talk about stuff.
Well, the exterior is pretty important in this one.
Yeah, even though it's against a gigantic black backdrop all the time.
Well, yeah. The void of space is vast and infinite.
That was deep. One might even say it was vast and infinite.
Let me take a sip of my tea here to show how enlightened I am.
One thing I did like about the Supreme Council meeting, because they're all set to approve a bill where
they've been pushing through.
Yeah, and the countries that are paying into
the Von Braun project
Into and the Von Braun project, yeah, and just space development in general, they're going to be the ones who are proportionately rewarded
based on how much they paid in. So it's literally a buy-in to, how rich do you want to be? Pay us more.
Yeah, I guess. That's the plan, and that's what the SDF has a problem with, because they're, they have the interests of third world nations and just humanity. They would say humanity in general,
right,
in mind when they take these actions. Hijacking the Von Braun and trying to kill 120,000 people, which is a lot.
Yes. You know how many people died of starvation last year?
Yeah, Hakim is still spitting some facts, some statistics at Hachi, even while they're fighting for their lives. Yeah, but before that, we do get while one of the talking heads on the news is proclaiming that, oh, this is such a significant moment for humanity, and the Supreme Council they're meeting in space
for the first time.
It's proof that we're finally going out there. We see shots of characters from previous episodes, like the El Tanakan engineer, who is
picking up a scrap from.
He's just now come back to Earth, and he's witnessing the destroyed factory where he and his friends used to work.
Yeah.
And then the parents from episode 5 who were planning on killing themselves and their child, we can see that they're on the run. Like when they were coming out of that door and like hurrying down whatever ramp that was.
A ramp, staircase, something.
Yeah, they were clearly like being pursued, I guess, and they were trying to stay ahead of their potential captors.
Right.
I guess because they owed so much money, right? They were in debt.
Right.
So perhaps they're being chased because of that.
Debt collectors, yeah.
Yeah, and so we like see the plight of a bunch of people who really do not care that this Supreme Council meeting is like so historic and so significant. Because it isn't to them. It doesn't change the fact that their lives have been ruined by circumstances that are
somewhat beyond their control.
Yeah. Well, for some people, yes. For the parents of that girl, you know, maybe they could have organized their lives differently to, you know, so they wouldn't have to borrow so much money. But we'll never know. In any case, they really don't care that this is so symbolic and historic. Like, that doesn't mean shit to them. They're just trying to stay alive. As are, I'm sure, all the people that Hakim is talking about when he and Hachi are fighting. Like
the people in the Civil War, the people who are dying of starvation, people who died from diseases you can be vaccinated from.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But during that whole sequence, Hachi is like, you know, we're here already. We have to keep moving. So this is the, you know, those are the lines that these two characters have been taking for episodes and episodes now. And they're finally, you know, about to settle it, I guess. I don't know if one of them will end up dead or not.
I don't know.
Because at the end of episode 24, he has him at gunpoint at the end of 23, and then, you know, I don't know, Hakim probably does some badass like roundhouse kick or something.
he just flips him over his shoulder, basically.
Yeah, and then the ship shakes, blah, blah, blah. But he does have him at gunpoint for like the second or third time in the series now. And he seems set to kill him, but I kind of doubt. I mean, the show's already taken him to a really dark place, so he might actually end up a killer. I don't remember.
I don't remember
whether he does or not.
I don't know. Obviously, I haven't seen the show yet. Although I'm probably going to finish it as soon as we're done here, because I need to know what happens.
All right. Yeah, I mean, do you think he's going to pull the trigger? I kind of think he will.
I don't think so.
No? I think we're going to get the show's not going to go quite that cynical and dark.
I don't think so. I don't know why. It's just kind of like a gut feeling. Of course, I could be completely wrong, and 35 minutes from now, just be like, "Oh, well, shit, I was wrong." But
I think he's gonna do it.
Because I mean, Hakim and him are talking about, Hakim especially is saying, people like you who have, the only goal is just a goal itself. It's just like forward no matter the cost. And it's like people like you have like ruined this world essentially. It's just like even the relationships you had with, Gigalt and everyone else. It's like those didn't. If you pull the trigger,
those don't matter to you. Those didn't matter. You're just leaving everything behind. If you kill me. That's his larger point, I think, in general too, is that people who only want to move forward, who are driven by the allure of discovery or progress or conquest, they're just moving forward for the sake of it. And that can be damaging to people who aren't able to keep up, But we'll see what the show settles on, which character it
ends up favoring.
Ends up killing. Well, that's the thing. I think this show has done a pretty admirable job, especially with what happens with Tanabe's character in episode 24, of not, favoring one character's point of view over another necessarily. Because Tanabe has been like the, love will save us all, idealist sort of character. But in this episode, that gets put to the test in a serious way. Like she's considering committing murder for a few more minutes of oxygen at the very end, which is some seriously tough shit that she's in, and her character hasn't been tested in the same way that Hachi's, Hakim's, Gigalt's, any of their characters have thus far. But now she is.
Yeah, she's
pretty crazy.
He's like, Claire, what are you doing here? Ignoring the fact that you're in full combat gear and you have a holster on your hip. I'm going to go save you.
Yeah, she doesn't want to believe that Claire is one of the terrorists. And even when Claire tells her at first, I'm responsible for the deaths of all the people that you love.
All the people, yeah. Because they don't know
Yeah, they escaped in a pod.
Right. They're 1,200 kilometers from the station. And
Yeah.
no one's receiving their transmission.
Yeah, well, that's the great thing about that scene is that they're totally isolated. So it's not Tanabe doesn't have anything to fall back on or anyone to rely on when she says that, love is the answer, and we all just need to care for each other and our planet and our universe.
And all she can remember is people telling her that it's like your love is stupid. It doesn't do anything. Who has it saved? And I think she comes to the realization through, just being stuck in the vacuum and the void of space because Claire's not talking to her. It's that she hasn't saved anybody.
She also realizes that she didn't save Hachimaki.
Yeah,
even though
the ship saved him, not her.
Yeah. Just his obsession with getting to Jupiter.
His obsession with progress or
discovery, science, power. Even you could view his attempt to get to Jupiter as like a desire for power or even control. Like he wants to be on board a ship with the strongest engine, the most up to date technology, the
furthest that anyone's ever gone, the most dangerous mission, the hardest crew to get onto. Is to prove to himself like I've done something. I'm someone who matters.
Yeah, he could even be proving it to his father on some level.
His dad's on board, so you're not proving that much.
Well, by being accepted onto the same crew as him,
right? Yeah, I guess
I did it, Dad.
I did it, Dad. Are you proud of me? Dead man in his arms. Are you proud of me? Are you proud of me now?
Yikes.
Defend the ship.
Well, you said that Claire doesn't talk to Tanabe, and for
a large period, for a large portion of it, she doesn't.
Yeah. So she's probably saving oxygen. Maybe not consciously, like literally unconsciously.
Yeah, unconsciously. They do it in the testing. All of them, they put themselves into like a lower temperature in order to conserve oxygen.
Yeah.
When you're asleep, you use way less oxygen.
Yeah.
As well as
breathing is shallower and less frequent.
Yeah, and Tanabe is carrying another person and running on the moon, trying to go 40 kilometers in 10 hours. Which for all of our people who use normal units is like 25, 26 miles.
In 10 hours?
Yeah. Which honestly...
That doesn't seem that impossible. Are you sure it's not 80? I can't remember the conversion.
Well, a 5K is 2.6 miles.
Okay.
So...
Well, there's a little bit of dialogue between she and Claire where Claire says... Yeah, we may be, on the moon where there's reduced gravity, but the weight, like the toll that it takes on your knees is still the same.
Yeah.
When I read that, I was like, is that right?
Did you Google it?
No, but science, I don't understand science. So.
I guarantee you it's not.
Well, she says something to that effect. And
yeah,
and I'm sure it was.
She does. And
I'm sure it was terribly difficult for Tanabe to do what she did, even though she didn't make it.
Right.
It was still really hard for her to carry another person. But Claire does talk to her for like a short time where she expresses like the desire to die.
It's like I was prepared to die. It's like, so just let me die.
Right. And
save yourself.
That's one of the things that Tanabe flashes back to, like right at the very end when she's considering taking her oxygen tank.
Is that it's just like she was prepared to die.
She killed these people. And that's the most beautiful thing about that scene for me is the way that she first denies what Claire has done and then slowly accepts it
as her situation becomes more dire.
Right.
If she was never faced with the threat of running out of oxygen, she may have never come to that conclusion.
Right. She may have never allowed herself to believe it. That's what's happening in this scene is her idealism and her worldview is being like chipped away
by her own mortality.
Right. So I don't know, like depending on how cynical the show wants to The show is already, you know, dedicated to realism and naturalism to some extent. But this is going to be the test for the series for Planetes in its like philosophy. Does realism necessitate cynicism and death? You know, is that the way that the underneath it all the show truly sees the world? Are we gonna get a dead Tanabe? Are we gonna get a dead Hakim?
Or are we going to get a dead Hakim and a dead Claire, and Hachi and Tanabe are meant for each other because they both killed people?
Well, I'm just interested to see, like, you know, because the show does do a decent job of balancing perspectives. What does it believe, or will it to the bitter end not commit to one point of view or another? You know, how is this going to be resolved? How will the show resolve itself, and what is it about at its core?
Well, the show already, although we haven't gotten a real explanation as to why, already got the Into board to, you know, basically be like, hey, so we're going to divide up.
We did get
Saturn's,
an explanation as to why.
We're going to get Saturn's resources, give it to everyone based on population.
No, you mean Jupiter.
Jupiter, that's what I meant.
Yeah. We do get an explanation. That's the whole thing, is that's actually why I like episode 24 so much, because the terrorist situation is resolved. They the SDF, you know, with their cat hacking program,
right?
That shows up on all the screens. They negotiate with the chairman of this meeting that is set up right at the start of episode 23. Like, that's the headline of these episodes. And
it's been in the works for the last 2 or 3 episodes as well before this.
Right. And they've been planning for it alongside it.
Yeah.
But we do know why the chairman signed the bill. It was to save the Sea of Tranquility base. The Sea of Tranquility City. Because the
interesting
SDF
thing, though,
restores the engines of the Von Braun.
They do, but was that his sole purpose? Because before they mentioned, like, we're going to crash the Von Braun into the Sea of Tranquility, and the rest of the board members basically, it's like, well, this is just, you know, more great press for us, you know.
No, they don't go that far.
They actually say that.
No, I don't think so, dude. I remember them like making a bunch of cynical comments.
Like, this is an SDF attack. This will be really good for us.
Right, but I think
maybe they said that before they learned that 120,000 people are going to die.
It's before, when the Von Braun has been hijacked, they're like, oh, maybe we can use this as an excuse to levy some new tax. They even go so far as to say something like that. But that's before the cat on screen.
It's like, would you like to take a look?
That's before they unveil their master plan. And when that happens, everyone's like, panic mode, activate.
Also, I think it's interesting that no one knows that the Von Braun almost crashed into it.
Who? What do you mean?
Nobody knows. Like, when the news anchor talks about it, and it's like, and in an unexpected decision, Into has decided to divide the resources of Jupiter amongst the countries based on population. Because the communications blackout shut off the fact that the Von Braun almost destroyed the station.
Well, I'm sure that people saw it getting closer. You know, that fact is not likely to remain hidden. But the involvement of the SDF in its descent was probably hidden, because they don't want to make it seem like they've been negotiating with terrorists, which they did.
And the SDF also, the leaders abandon everyone.
Yeah.
Because it seems that nobody in the SDF knew the end goal. It seems that they all thought that they were just going to crash it into it. They didn't know that they might reverse it and just get it out of the way.
Yeah. They
because
thought
it's like we were.
They thought that the goal was just a terror operation rather than a negotiation. So they get left behind, like the guys in the work uniforms who shoot Dolph.
Yeah,
they literally say, like
we've been
left, but we've been abandoned.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. Like, the episode carries on even after the crisis has been averted. which is what I like so much about the fact that Hachi and Tanabe are still struggling in their respective situations, because these conflicts that they put themselves in are so core to their characters that even after, you know, the Von Braun is, the engines come back on and they're clear. Yeah. The struggle inside Hachi and the struggle inside Tanabe
still exists.
Yeah. That isn't changed by the fact that the moon situation is, you know, looking better now. Yeah. Their stories are so, such a, like, what they're going through is such an integral struggle for their character that it keeps going, and it will continue into episode 25, I suppose.
Right.
So that, you know, that's good. That's good writing right there.
We also got Changshin, the redemption of Changshin.
Is it? I feel like he's a little bit irrelevant. You know, he and Fee and Yuri, who are like, let's try to avert. I mean, it's cool that we see their attempts at heroism, or just their attempts at, you know, saving people, trying to change the course of the Von Braun.
Right.
Because the show is just keeping its characters in rotation and showing us what they would do in that situation. But it ends up, you know, all of his staring at the monitors and trying to figure out, you know, how they can impact the situation, or even what's going on during the blackout. That all ends up not really mattering that much.
I mean, it doesn't. And I think,
so I don't know if you can call it the redemption of Changshin. Like,
well, I mean, that's what it's kind of that's what it's kind of presented as, is just, you know, it's like, I don't want to just do nothing. It's like, I want to do something. I want to do the right thing. You know, I'm no longer selfless because you could die.
You mean no longer selfish?
Yes, no longer selfish. I said the literal opposite of it.
I did think it was interesting that Changshin, like, more than the action that he was willing to take in trying to avert the crash, I thought it was interesting that he thought to himself, or even said to himself, I don't remember, Hachi is still on that ship.
Yeah, I think he says it out loud to the co-pilot, even though the co-pilot has no idea who he is.
Yeah,
he's just, because he's, you know, he's basically, it's like I'm going to do this. You can leave if you want. It's like, there are still people on there.
Yeah, but he specifically singles out Hachimaki, like he wants to save him. I thought was interesting, because they had that gigantic fight at the end of episode 19 or 20. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So I wonder, like, what is the motivation there? Is Changshin just a great guy after all? Or is it more like he wants Hachimaki to owe him? Or what is the deal
Changshin
there?
can't beat Hachi if Hachi's dead.
Yeah, I wonder if it's something like that. I don't know.
That's what I think.
You know, Fee and Yuri try to do a similar thing. And boy.
Yes.
No, not boy as in the funny meme phrase. Boy as in, oh boy.
There's a lot here. A lot of worms.
A lot of worms?
Yeah. You know, you open a can of worms. They just get everywhere, and it's
they're coarse, and
it's hard to clean it. They're slimy.
They get everywhere.
Thanks, thanks there, Blue Lightsaber.
Anakin, yes.
Yeah, I got the reference.
So the main takeaway from these episodes for me is that I want to see what comes next. I guess I just want to see, like, what the show is made of. You know.
Is it going to wimp out, and are we going to get a happy ending?
Well, it's not about whether it wimps out or not. It's about, like, in its pursuit of, like, realist storytelling, does that necessitate a sad ending, a violent ending, a cynical ending?
Or is there something we haven't thought of that's a different resolution?
Yeah, it doesn't have to walk one of two paths. You know, there's 100 different ways that it can go. And I am interested to see.
What if we pull an M. Night Shyamalan and Hachi kills himself?
Why would he do that?
I don't know.
Like, he has his gun trained on Hakim. What's he going to do? Put it up to his own head? And
yeah,
he's not. There's no way that happens.
You know,
I mean, he might kill.
What a twist!
He might kill Hakim first, and then we might just, like, end the series with him you know, he'll have abandoned everyone and everything that he knows, and he'll be. You remember how he was like slumming it when he was doing the exam?
Yeah, because that's just because he didn't have a job,
right?
So they wouldn't rent to him.
Yeah,
but
he might become like a homeless person,
but he'll still have a job on the Von Braun.
Only if he makes it.
Only if he lives.
Well, only if he is announced as one of the crew members. If he kills somebody,
the rest of them are dead.
Well, I don't know about that.
I mean, a lot of them are dead, probably.
Yeah, probably so. So I mean, his odds just went up.
Yep.
You know,
may the odds ever be in your favor or whatever.
Right. Well, with one final reference, I guess that's a good enough way as any to conclude this episode.
I'm out of interesting things to say. In fact, I don't think I said anything interesting today at all.
Well, I mean, we talked about anime, so neither of us did.
That's true.
All right, next time, One Punch Man will probably be back, I guess. I don't know when the French Open ends, but hey, maybe an extra week will be enough for them to fix their production issues.
It's unlikely.
And, we'll have some more Kimetsu no Yaiba, the conclusion to Planetes, another Carole Tuesday, most likely. Since it airs on Netflix, it won't be affected by the French Open or anything.
Right.
And we'll see you then, I guess.
Take care.